The sun is out, the days are getting a little bit longer, and it just means we are getting that much closer to baseball. Let's get into it. What's going on, everyone? Hopefully, you're all having a good day. You're having a good week so far. Before I begin, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. If you're new, please like this video, share this out with anyone you know. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm on the road to 400 subscribers, and if you could all help me get there, it would mean a lot to me. And for all of you who have subscribed so far, thank you so much. It means the world to me. Okay, so some big news came out, and that big news is Jorge Soler, who's a designated hitter outfielder, was signed by the San Francisco Giants to a 3-year deal worth $42 million. So that's a nice pickup for the San Francisco Giants, a nice bat. The Giants made a few good moves this offseason, so we'll see how they contend in the NL West. It's going to be an interesting year for every team in that division. I had a prediction that the Dodgers are probably going to come out on top, and Arizona is going to be right behind them. But with this current pickup with Jorge Soler signing with the Giants could make a push. But, we'll see what happens. Games need to be played, and you never know how these games turn out. All right. Now, there's still some big names that are still on the board that haven't been signed yet. And here we are getting into spring training, and these big names, again, are still available. They have not signed. And I want to talk about a few of those big names. All right. First, let's talk about Cody Bellinger. Okay. Surprisingly, I don't know about you, but I'm surprised a team has not signed him yet. And it could be just because of the money that he's asking for, and teams are hesitant of giving up that kind of money. They could be hesitant about giving him a long-term contract because of his past injuries, even though he had a good year with the Chicago Cubs. Now, Bellinger has been linked to the Yankees. There was reports of the Blue Jays. There are people saying that he could, sign back with the Cubs. I made a video last week talking about maybe the Philadelphia Phillies being the dark horse, because the Phillies have been fairly quiet this offseason. If you ask me personally, I think Cody Bellinger signs back with the Cubs. I just think it makes the most sense. He did well for them. I could see the Cubs signing him back, and then they can contend in the NL Central, which to me is wide open. It could be anyone's division. I was giving it to the Brewers, but when they traded Corbin Burns, I kind of changed my tune a little bit as far as who finishes at the top of the division. All right, so my prediction for Cody Bellinger, I think he signs back with the Cubs. Okay, it wouldn't surprise me at this point, but that's where I see him going. So Cody Bellinger to the Cubs. You all tell me what you think, whether you agree or disagree. Just drop it in the comments. Let me know what you all think. All right. So the next big name I want to talk about is Matt Chapman, who is a third baseman, again, has not been signed. And it could be the very same reason that teams are not willing to pay him for what he's asking for. Okay. Now, for Matt Chapman, I had him going to the Giants, but since the Giants signed Jorge Soler, do I see them going after Matt Chapman? I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. And I don't know what other team would want to sign him or who have a need for him, but I have him potentially being signed by the Giants. I still have him going to the San Francisco Giants. The only other team I would have maybe mentioned would have been the Houston Astros, but they still have Bregman for another year. So I think the Astros are out of the question. Now, if Matt Chapman was a free agent uh, after this season, I could see him being signed by the Astros. But I think San Fran will still sign a player or two, and I think Matt Chapman might be on that list. So I still say Matt Chapman to the Giants. But again, anything is possible. He could sign with another team. Another team could come in as a surprise and swoop him. So uh, again, we'll see what happens with that. All right. Now the last two are the two big pitchers. All right, and you know who I'm talking about. So let's talk about Blake Snell. All right, left-handed pitcher, just won a Cy Young this past season. All right, we're all surprised that a lot of teams have not made offers to him. The only team to make an offer for him has been the New York Yankees, and they made an offer for 150 million for 6 years, to which he rejected. And the Yankees pulled the offer and moved on. Okay, they quickly pivoted to signing Marcus Stroman. The offer was still on the table, but the Yankees have pulled their offer, and I don't know of any other team that has made an offer to Blake Snell. There were reports saying that the Los Angeles Angels had interest in Blake Snell. I don't know how far the talks went in there. Maybe they called in and checked in and see what Blake Snell was looking for. But Scott Boras, his agent, is asking for 270 million for 9 years, and to any ridiculous offer or any ridiculous contract that agents are looking for, my reaction is kick rocks. If it seems unreasonable, I say kick rocks. And that's how I'm feeling about it. At 31, I don't see Blake Snell getting a 9-year deal, and at that price, I don't know how many teams would want him till he's 40 years old. I think the Yankees' offer was more than generous. 6 years at 150. I understand why he turned it down, but it's interesting to see that he has not been signed yet, and he's a big name, and he'd be a contributor to a lot of teams that are in need of pitching, and would easily be a number two in the starting rotation for a lot of teams. But there are concerns that he can't really pitch long innings, and he walks a lot of batters. So that could be a concern as to why teams are hesitant in giving him that kind of contract. But to me, I think that price has to come down at some point. But me personally, I wouldn't give him 270 for 9. I know he's looking for a long-term contract, but I wouldn't give it to him at 31. If he was 25, then it would be a different story. Then we can have a conversation and try to negotiate that money. But again, the Yankees were the only team that made that offer, but they're so far apart. And at this point, the Yankees are not going to sign him. I don't know what team will. Maybe the Angels will, right? Maybe the Giants can come in and sign him too and surprise us. Maybe the Seattle Mariners, right? There was talks that Blake Snell wants to play out west, which makes sense. He's from the Washington State area, so he could sign with one of the West Coast teams. Okay, and the other big name, another left-handed pitcher, is Jordan Montgomery, who just won a World Series, showed a great performance. He shined. He showed what he was worth. And again, not a lot of teams have reached out. The Yankees have had talks within the organization of potentially bringing him back. I know some people felt maybe he goes to the Boston Red Sox since his wife is doing her residency over there in Boston. But I had him going or signing back with the Texas Rangers, or potentially reuniting with the St. Louis Cardinals. But I think Montgomery wants to go back to the Texas Rangers, but the Texas Rangers are trying to figure out their TV deal. And I feel like once that gets figured out, I think they'll make an offer to Jordan Montgomery. And I could see Jordan Montgomery returning back to the Texas Rangers, the team that he won the World Series with. So that's what I see happening. All right. And then the only other name I will mention that's still out there, he's a veteran player, JD Martinez. He hasn't been signed yet. I know teams like the New York Mets have expressed interest in him. So for me, I could see JD Martinez potentially going to the New York Mets. I'll mention the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Chicago Cubs. So these are the three teams that I think will sign for JD Martinez. The funny thing is with all these guys that I just mentioned is that they're all Scott Boras clients. And Scott Boras is certainly holding up the market. I know a lot of people don't like him, but he's doing his job, right? And we may not like the fact that he's holding up the market. We don't like the fact that these players haven't been signed. But again, players like him because he gets the job done. And not a whole lot we can do about that, right? So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it all plays out. But the big news is that Jorge Soler signed with the San Francisco Giants for 3 years, $42 million. A great pickup by the Giants. That's gonna solidify their offense. It's gonna make their offense better. And we'll see what other moves come out, what other moves happen, what news comes out. So I don't want you to miss out. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. Please like this video. Share this out with anyone you know. I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you all next time.